What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Boys, and you're here for another Facts Project review. Today, we are going to be covering Boom Studios' Bronze Faces, Issue 2. Of course, written by Shobo and Shof, illustrated by Alexandre Tefangki, and colored by Lee Loughridge. Now, to get right into it, because we've already had this discussion, because I have a video done on Issue 1 of this. This entire storyline is based around I'm going to say the cultural misappropriation of artifacts and artwork that are generally placed in museums all over Europe, all over North America, that more than likely have gotten there under the most vicious and unsuspecting circumstances. The way that this is laid out, of course, in the first issue, a character by the name of Timi is visiting London, Soho district, to see a exhibit of his father's work until he runs into some friends of his from Nigeria, and they get to talking and realize the scope and the landscape of the room as to, man, after this day, we're never going to see this stuff again. And it's just going to be here rather than where he created it in Nigeria. And ultimately that leads this particular storyline into a heist, quote unquote. A lot happens in there. Of course, there's a lot of suspense in this, a lot of thriller. There's some comedy, there's some drama in this. So there's the full landscape, the full scope of the story is in this whole particular heist. And after their initial heist in Soho in London, we get to a particular one that is currently happening in issue 2, because they feel like, why stop here? Let's just continue to start building up the taking back of artifacts to our native land. So Timi and the crew, of course, are now on a destination of hopping on a train that is going to Mambila Plateau in Nigeria. This is 4 months after the Soho incident, and they are disguising themselves as collectors. And this particular train has a lot of insider trading going on of a lot of cultural artifacts. And the way that they basically build around this entire heist is through the events of this girl utilizing her live streaming on social media. And she, of course, is pretty much giving away the cheat code as to how to obtain all of the artifacts. And because they've disguised themselves as such, I mean, now after the Soho incident, there is law enforcement on their case, and you see that in issue 2. But evidently, they start to plan a little bit better and ultimately find a means and a ways to get away with this. And once we get around to the end of it, you almost see like the resolve of a bunch of friends who had great admiration for their parents, especially Timi, and wants to honor his father in a means and a ways to bring back something that was near and dear to him, and better yet, near and dear to his people. But of course, I will be on the lookout for issue 3, which will more than likely be dropping next month for Boom Studios. I feel like Shobo and Shof definitely have a particular, just a banger on their hands, because there's not a lot of stories like this. We've talked about it, where it was kind of like the Killmonger effect. And and I'm talking about in particular because I talked about it in the first video that I did, that one particular scene in Black Panther, to where it was more so him, of course, taking something from Wakanda out of a museum in London, and then kind of like just, of course, taking that, transplanting that into a comic, because a comic like this has never been done. But shout out to Shobo and Shof, Alexandre Tefangki. The artwork is massive. Definitely am looking forward to issue 3. So for us here at the Facts Project, stay tuned to the channel, and we will be back when this drops.